Hey, welcome to Endgame Club. I was just going to make a little video here, kind of just for fun. It's the night before our first tournament, Friday night, and it's just something a little miscellaneous here, since it's Primus song, miscellaneous debris. This is a short story about a game I played actually just a couple weeks ago, and after it happened, I thought it was a little bit interesting. Okay, so this is a story about transitions, and I'll tell you more after I do this. Let that thing go away. I don't know why it's doing that. Anyway, I was the white pieces. This is a Game in 20 game from our local Monday evening club, Central Chess Club. And actually, I think I got a little bit lucky, but anyway, by this point in the game was going very well. And I just started thinking, you know, I bet I could win this game. I'll just sack my knight for the 2 pawns. Maybe something like this. And I thought about this, and I was like, could not seem to figure out. Oh, but well, see, because my rook is in such a good spot, and his king is on the c file as 2 squares over, right? So you're like, well, the king's cut off. I'm like, I know I can win that. I'm sure that has to be a win, right? And honestly, I wasn't 100% sure, but I was curious. So I thought, okay, well, I know one way to find out is I'm going to just do this. And my opponent, which is Greg Stark, not any kind of slouch at all. Pretty solid endgame there. Quickly illustrated the problem. Okay, so this is called checking distance. That black rook is actually somewhat capable of handling this situation himself. You can back up here for you if you want. But so, it's interesting. You think you want your rook behind the passed pawn. He checked me and brought his rook up to the queening square. I started to move my pawn, but now you see he's got a lot of space to check. So if I try to go forward, I lose the pawn. Of course, right here, it would help a lot to have my rook protecting my pawn, but you can't have everything, right? So I gotta keep the pawn. I got no chance to win without this pawn. And there we are. Okay. So black, by the way, has to get back to this post, otherwise I might sneak the pawn up to f5 when he's not looking. So that's his defensive formation. And what does white do? Well, let's go ahead and protect the pawn so that next time my king can go forward. Stark immediately attacked that rook. This is actually another cool idea. My rook is doing 2 things, right? It's controlling the d file, which, again, the point of that is that his king can't get anywhere near the pawn without crossing into the field of my rook. So controlling the d file, but now I'm trying to also use my rook to protect the pawn. So basically the rook has to be on d4, and so naturally, since black can't do anything with his rook, he attacked my rook with his king. At this point, I picked up my king and started to move it there. Which gets into the other part of our story, which is you have to fight these things out. Okay? Which, in case that would just be an instant draw. So tragic, but fortunately did not do that. Sorry, this isn't quite right. I think I played king to e3, and then he checked me and something. But basically, I almost blew it right there. And then, go back. The alternative thing is I managed to get my rook back this way, for better or worse, which actually kind of cuts his king off in a different way. So I couldn't have everything I wanted. Well, I think it's a drawn position, but I played on, and another thing you can try is you can cut the king off from the queening square. Okay, maybe the king can get to the f file and try to stop my pawn, but at least he can't get to the f8 square because now he's cut off on the 6th rank. I think it was the 6th rank. It might have been the 7th rank. And so I just wanted to give you a few minutes here. I'm afraid I'm going to leave you to look at this position, which I think is a draw. But also, I don't want to make up. It was really messy, but I ended up beating him. I was quite pleased with that. This was all kind of in time pressure, but we had a few minutes each, and he could not do this. So I managed to outfox him a little bit and get my full point like I should have. And I was kind of pleased about that. He was really pissed off, by the way. But so anyway, so there's a couple parts to that story. 2 morals of the story. So far as the technique, there is that checking distance, having your rook far away. One thing about all this stuff that we study in endgames, right? I mean, well, part of it is sometimes you shouldn't play that endgame. I should have chose not to go into that, right? So that's you might call it a transition or something. But choose your endgames carefully, which means you got to have some kind of like stock information. You can look at a situation and go, no, that's bad. That's a draw. That's a win. I'm winning the game. I want to go for the win. I don't want to get into any kind of. So you have to know kind of like par for a position. And in some cases that means really you need to know some exact details. We'll see a little bit of that with rook and pawn stuff. Or what you might call landmarks. That is the idea, by the way. There's a book, 100 Endgames You Must Know. Also, if you look at Dvoretsky's Endgame Manual, so he has some of these positions in blue. And the idea is, anything that's in blue, you need to know what the par is. If that's a win for white, that's a draw, that's a win for black. You just have to, first of all, have that memorized. And then secondly, you also have to be able to play them well. That can be, a tall order if you start to get into dozens of rook endgames. But you'll see with the rook and pawn stuff, so there's at least 6 or 8 of those that are reasonably common, including this one. And I just didn't, I don't know what's with my memory. If you had asked me about checking distance, I would have been like, oh yeah, that doesn't work. That you can't win that. But I was looking at it a few moves ahead, and I just somehow didn't put two. So, by the way, one good way to organize your thinking could be, this pawn is only on the 3rd rank, right? So, when you ask about rook and pawn versus rook, honestly, I think the first question ought to be, where's the pawn? Are we talking about a pawn that's already on the 7th rank or maybe the 6th rank? I mean, is it very close to being a queen? Where's the pawn? So I should have stopped and thought to myself, that pawn's only on the 3rd rank. Maybe I get one move. It's only on the 4th rank. That's not good enough. That might have helped me with my thinking. All right, and I guess the other moral of the story, I wish I could show you the whole game, but people make mistakes. So you have to play well, and if you're feeling confident, go ahead and play, fight it out, whether it's a draw or whatever the result is. Don't just let them off the hook, right? So this position was drawn after I screwed it up, but you'll see this all the time in the in-game tournaments. You put people under a little pressure, and they make various mistakes. And it's very interesting to try to figure out what kind of mistake they might make, or how can I try to win this, even though theoretically you shouldn't be able to. But I was going to try to keep this short, so I hope that's a little entertainment for you. And thanks for watching the video.